Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order, 6:08, August 27th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and Mr. Miller, if you do roll call.
Yes, Mayor Jacobs.
Here.
Chairperson Taylor.
Here.
Vice Chair Alex. He said he was going to be here, so we will give him time. Secretary Trustee Walkonis.
Present.
Dr. Hyder is asked to be excused. Trustee Barry.
Here.
Right. And Trustee Nazardine is asked to be excused. Right. Okay.
Okay, so we will begin with the approval of the agenda. So we're looking for a motion.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, so we've got a motion by Mayor Jacobs and second by Trustee Walkonis. All right, presentations. We have the Fokker Building Development.
All those in
Oh,
favor?
sorry.
All those in favor?
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any discussion? All right, so we pass the approval of the agenda. Now we move to the presentations. Fokker Building Development. Mr. Miller.
Yes. This is regarding the Fokker Building, which is a former Orange Jewelers property. And the council has approved a rezoning for the parcel to be a PD, a Planned Development District, for the demolition of the structure and the rebuilding of commercial space on the first floor, about a 20,000 square foot commercial space on the first floor, and about 60 residential units on floors 2, 3, and 4 above that. Part of the process that the developers are looking at is to begin the process, of course, for redevelopment, but also part of that is they're looking at doing a tax increment financing portion of the financing for that, which will require, of course, you'll hear a little bit later, we've got on the Zoom a consultant from Fishbeck and Associates to talk about the process that's necessary to establish this kind of a tax increment financing to allow for the future value capture of the taxable amount to help pay down the loan for the developers. So for example, we will set, very similar to the DDA itself for the entire capture, we capture what a snapshot in time is, what the value is, say at 2025 of those parcels there on the corner. And then the development occurs and it does add value. A portion or all of that, we have not got the numbers completely, of the value increase in what taxes they would pay would still be paid, but it would be paid to a brownfield redevelopment authority, which would in turn then be used via a development agreement to pay the developer to offset their costs on the note for the building. So we're going to have a presentation from Trudy Gala, and she's actually zooming in, that's what at the beginning was for, to talk to us about it and give us a little bit of information about how the process is going to go and everything that's required. Part of what's going to be asked tonight is if this is something that we see and we agree to, a motion would be done to allow them to just move forward in the process, not to talk about facts or figures or number of units or anything, to allow them to go forward in the process. And so I think now we can maybe listen to Trudy and see what we have. Also in your packets, I put together the presentation that she's got and to go forward. And Trudy is up on the screen now, and through the magic of technology, she's zooming in, I assume, from northern Michigan, where she lives. So hi, Trudy. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Thank you. Yeah, I'm zooming in from Traverse City. So thank you for allowing me to do that and to give this presentation here today. I have 8 slides. They were distributed earlier, actually for your previous meetings, so you should have those already, but I am going to share my screen and put them up on your screen so that you can see those in a larger format. The first three are just going to give you a little bit of information on development, and then we'll talk about brownfield plan and what needs to be involved, and then I will take any questions that you have for me. So let me get started here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. There we go. All right, so this first slide just shows the proposed development from A4 Holdings, and the light brown section is the new 4-story building, so the 3 buildings will come down, and this will be a new building, and as Matt mentioned, commercial on the first floor and then residential with apartments on floors 2, 3, and 4. It also shows right here, if you can see my cursor, this is all the parking area. There's some green space area. These are entrances on each end of the building. And then there's spaces for service delivery, as well as garbage collection and so forth. The next photo is a photo of the Pardo Road property, and it shows the additional parking here, and then there would be some residential space here for perhaps future development. Are you getting a feedback on the line from me?
We are not.
Okay, then it's just on my end. Okay, that's all right. Okay, so this is located at Ford and Middlebelt Road, and these are some photos of what the property currently looks like. So you can see that there is definitely some areas that are in need of work, and the developers have decided not to try to rehabilitate these buildings, but instead to tear them down, start with a brand new building. So they're going to demolish them and replace them with that new building. Total building height is going to be approximately 66 to 72 feet. The ground floor commercial retail will have 14 to 16 foot clear height, with the residential floors about 11 to 12 feet. And then the roof level, there'll be some mechanical and perhaps parapet up there, 3 to 6 feet, with a potential for rooftop green space. And these are the kind of details that will be spelled out in the final site plan and the construction drawings that will be developed, and still needs to go back through final site plan with regard to the rezoning. So this is the rendering of what the new building will look like. And as Matt mentioned, the developers are looking at a brownfield plan to use the tax increment financing and MSHDA and MEDC incentives as applicable, along with private investment and bank financing, in order to bring this project to completion. So it will include some income restricted units in compliance with MSHDA's housing TIF program. In order to do a brownfield plan, you need 4 things. You need a brownfield redevelopment authority, which you have at Wayne County. You need eligible site, which you have here, eligible activities, which we'll go over, and then you need to collect TIF. There has to be an increase to collect TIF to reimburse the developer and make the plan work. So a property is eligible under Act 381 for any of these reasons here listed in these top bullets, and these are what we kind of consider traditional ways of thinking of brownfield sites. They're blighted, functionally obsolete. If the property is functionally obsolete, it's a level 3 or level 4 assessor that has to put that in writing after inspecting the buildings. It's contaminated, owned by, or under control of a land bank. This could be the local land bank authority as well as a state land bank authority. A historic site, and properties are adjacent or contiguous to one of the above. And then around June of 2023, Act 381 was amended to include housing property. So now 1 or more units of residential housing that's to be constructed or rehabbed can be designed into a building that, into a dwelling that is eligible, as well as 1 or more units that are constructed, rehab in a mixed use project. And this is a mixed use project. The eligible activities, as I mentioned, the traditional brownfields, we think of properties where we need to do some infrastructure, site prep work, demolition, taking down buildings, taking out sidewalks and so forth, environmental due diligence and cleanup, doing things like phase 1 and phase 2 environmental reports, and even environmental insurance. So the housing TIF or HTIF It includes all of those traditional eligible activities, but it also includes 2 new ones. You can do renovation of an existing building for housing, or you can do new construction, and TIF will fill that financing gap between constructing that property and the income from the rents. So basically, it's a revenue shortfall when the developer agrees that they're going to keep rents low for people whose incomes are up to 120% of the county's area median income, but the rents don't cover all the developer's loan and investment to build. So you have a housing gap, and you use TIF to fill that housing gap, as well as those eligible activities at the top. So we met those 3 things already. You have a Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, an eligible site, and eligible activities, and now you need TIF. And TIF is basically taking the difference between what the taxes are now on the property and what they'll be after it's developed. And it's on an eligible property, and then the developer gets reimbursed for those eligible activities as defined in the Brownfield plan. So as an example, if there are $1,000 of taxes on a property, and then you put the new development on, taxes go up to 4,000. The difference is that 3,000, that's your tax increment. And that is the amount that would get captured and used to reimburse the developer. The local government, all the local taxing jurisdictions like your libraries, Commission on Aging, things like that, they would continue to get what they are getting right now, but they would not get any of the increase until the reimbursement of the developer is complete through the Brownfield plan. And then they would. And here's a little bit of information on housing TIF. I'm kind of summarizing this all for you. Every plan is different, every site is different, and we try to summarize how this all works, but as you get into the plans, there are more specifics, and we go over those with the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority as well as the city that's going to be acting on this. So there's a median household income that is determined for each county and household size. We've been asked the question before, well, can you use the the household income numbers for the city? No, we can't. MSHDA requires us to use them by the county. So those are the numbers we will use. MSHDA provides a rent limit by the number of bedrooms for each county, and it's based on the area median income. So we use those in our Brownfield plan. And then again, the housing TIF incentives are for homes for people earning up to 120% of county area median income. A developer could go above that. We call it market rate, so they could sell or rent higher than that, but that would not be included in any housing gap. And we generally encourage a mix of that, a mix of a market rate and some units that are under 120%. Then there is a pro forma that's required by MSHDA, and that shows the debt service coverage ratio as well as the internal rate of return for the developer. Those are required documents that MSHDA needs, and those come along later in the process, and they get sent to MSHDA with a work plan so that they can review it as well. And my last slide here is just a little bit on the Brownfield TIF process. As I said, you have to have a Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. The developer proposes a project, which has happened in this case, and they draft a Brownfield plan. That's what Fishbeck is doing on behalf of the clients. The plan has to be approved by 3 bodies here. So the city has to approve it, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority makes a recommendation of approval, and then the Wayne County Board of Commissioners has to approve it, and that's done after they hold a required public hearing. When that's all done, we do a reimbursement agreement that's done between the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and the developer. And basically that is to spell out, here's how reimbursement is going to occur. These are the things that you have to do to get reimbursement, and you have to submit invoices and lien waivers and any other documents that the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority requests. They have a process set up as, they collect the TIF, and here's how it gets paid out. And that has to all be followed according to the Brownfield plan and the reimbursement agreement. And then if the developer is asking for state taxes, as we are on this site, there's another plan that has to be developed after that. That's an Act 381 work plan, which is very similar to the Brownfield plan, but it includes some more information. And that goes to MSHDA for state approval. And the benefit of that is you are also capturing the state school tax. So that adds more money into the pot, so the developer gets paid off quicker and the property goes back on the tax rolls quicker, so local jurisdictions can then benefit from that increased TIF. And then the final thing I wanted to mention about the housing TIF is that the developer or property manager has to verify the residents' incomes and maintain rents every year in compliance with MSHA for the duration of that brownfield plan. And that way you can check and see that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and there's a report that has to be filed with the state. So that's my last slide, and I did want to just mention that because there is a downtown development authority in place here, that requires stop sharing here. There we go. That requires the developer to approach the Downtown Development Authority and to ask for an agreement to be done between the Downtown Development Authority and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, allowing for the BRA to capture that TIF during the life of the plan and reimburse it accordingly under Act 381 through the Brownfield Plan and the reimbursement agreement. And if you have any questions on anything, be happy to take those.
Do you have a question?
Cool. Sure. A few. So what are eligible activities, and how long will the developer keep the TIF money? So in other words, how long will the city actually be, how long will it be until the city is able to recoup their TIF money from the project, once it goes up until?
Right. So thank you. The eligible activities are some of the things that I've mentioned in the slides right there, is things like site preparation, environmental work, like doing a phase 1 or phase 2 baseline environmental assessment, putting in infrastructure like sidewalks. We don't need roads in this case, but that can be considered. Parking areas, anything that has to help support the housing development, it could be considered as an eligible activity. And then in addition, it's that housing gap. So those are numbers that we are working on to complete in the brownfield plan. And then as you asked about how long is the brownfield plan in place and how long is TIF captured, that all depends on what is agreed to between the developer and the city when we bring this plan to you, as to what's going to work to make sure that the project is viable and it's also acceptable to the city. So we see most of these plans are at least a 15-year time period. They can go up to a maximum of 30 years. We have some communities that are putting a cap on the number of years. They might be saying 20 years is the longest that we'll allow it to go.
And then the money, maybe to clarify too, is the money won't come back to us though. So at that point, then we will start collecting the capture ourselves, and it's not being utilized to pay back the developer or to the Wayne County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority.
All right, he would quit
Yes, that's
collecting after
Correct.
15 to 30
Yes,
years,
yes.
and then we would start
Yes.
collecting on the, okay, then another question, let me see here. Gosh, on and on. And then how will we know, you mentioned if the rent is above, and that was okay, if the rent was above the 120%, or was it below, whatever, that the gap wouldn't be collected then. So how would we know that?
Maybe, is it possible to have a mix of units, like a market rate and then these 120%? Is that what you're asking,
Well,
Lori?
she said a certain percentage of that had to fall in line with this HTIF incentive for homes for people earning up to 120% of county area median income. But if they're earning more than that, then what I thought I heard her say was, then that would not be included in the gap grab for the TIF money.
Okay.
And I'm saying, well, how would we know?
Good question. That is spelled out in the brownfield plan. According to the act, technically, if you have one housing unit, you can qualify for housing TIF. But we don't feel that communities will accept just one housing unit, and I haven't seen any of them done that way yet. So what we do is determine what the housing gap is, and we put in those units into the brownfield plan. We have to show a housing gap. The housing gap In other words, that TIF that is available can only be captured for any units that you're going to restrict to 120% AMI or below. So as an example, if the developer in this case said 60 units and 20 of them will be income restricted, the housing gap is only calculated on those 20. Meaning the other units can be rented out at market rate. They don't have to be, they could be below as well, but they would be required to keep 20 income restricted, and the housing gap is figured on 20 units. That answer your question?
Kind of. So does that mean that the amount of TIF money that would come back to them then is reduced? Or
It's
no?
only based on the 20 units, as well as any other eligible activities that I mentioned, like demolition and so forth.
So in the pro forma, they will put forward, say, 20 units, plus the cost of the demolition, the utility work, environmental, stormwater runoff, all of those things would be in there as part of the calculation to determine how much of the TIF they would get and for how long, basically. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. And those details are being worked out in the Brownfield plan, and those will be submitted to the city, to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and then if it goes through those two bodies, it goes to the Board of Commissioners for final action.
Okay. And when you say the city, the DDA will have a brownfield redevelopment plan, and the city council will also have one. There'll be two approvals necessary.
Actually, the DDA does not approve anything with regard to a brownfield plan.
Okay.
What the developers are asking for here is an interlocal agreement between the DDA and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority so that the BRA can capture the TIF on these properties in the brownfield plan. Because as it's set up right now, your DDA is capturing that.
Okay.
And the BRA can't just put a brownfield plan in place and say, we're taking the TIF off of this property. We have to have an interlocal agreement between the two bodies that say, yes, for the term of this plan, let's say it's 20 years, for the term of this plan, the DDA will allow the Brownfield Authority to collect the TIF and reimburse it according to the regulations in Act 381, which covers your brownfield plan and your reimbursement agreement.
Okay. And then will the council, then will the council have a public hearing also?
The council is not required to. I mean, you certainly can. In some communities, they have requirements to hold public hearings on things like this, but it's the Board of Commissioners that has to hold the public hearing.
Oh, the Wayne County BRA?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and there's, before they do that, there has to be a public notice that's sent out and posted at least 10 days before the public hearing, as well as notice to all the taxing jurisdictions that this brownfield plan will be considered.
Okay, all right. We do have items that do require a public hearing or what we call an ordinance, but I don't know if this does. So just so the board knows, the city attorney and also our DDA attorney, I've sent this information also to them to review, to give us guidance as a formal document starts to come forward, just an FYI. So, because I'm not 100% of all the steps necessary either. I won't be able to guide the board and the council, and we do need that assistance from the attorneys.
I have one more
Just
question.
so you know, I did reach out. We have several consultants that do similar work as I do down in the Kalamazoo area and Grand Rapids area. So I have one who has done a lot of presentations down there, and I have her on standby in case you need a presentation in front of the city council. She would be more than welcome, more than happy to come and do that for your city council.
All right, thank you.
I think. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi, Trudy.
Hi.
I just want to make sure that I understand this and everyone over here also understands it. So right now, just the number 20 that we were throwing out there is not actually 20. It's actually, I believe, like 12 or 13, just so we're aware of that. And then that's what's mandatory to be priced at that amount. And then anything under the 120 as long as it's under 120, can still be captured as a TIF, right?
The 120, those would qualify for housing gap.
For housing gap,
Which-
and then
which-
anything
which
over
is
disqualifies
TIF.
you.
Right, anything that is market rate, no.
Okay,
But anything that is used for households renting and their household income is 120% of AMI or below, that's what we call housing gap, so that's eligible for TIF. And there's an actual formula that we use from MISTA to figure out, okay, what is that housing gap? How does it fill into this development? And that will all be put forward in the draft brownfield plan.
okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure everyone had that information.
So 12, because, remind me again, how many units are you planning? 60.
Was the total amount of units at 63 right now? And it could adjust slightly once we,
And you have to have 20% of those,
that's correct.
No,
No.
no.
no, there's not a percentage required. And let me just say that I would hate
Okay.
to get stuck in any certain numbers right now because we are still putting all of the data in as far as the cost. And we have to put that all in before we can actually give accurate numbers as far as these are the ones that are going to be income restricted, these are the ones that are not, and here's the totals. So I know.
But it's not
I've
a
been asked-
percentage of the units. It's not like.
No, that's correct.
Okay, okay. And then one more question. You had said that they would have to, the developer would have to file a report every year with the state as far as income for the residents, correct?
Yes, that is required by MISTA, and that can also be distributed to the city as well, so that they can see, all right, these are the units they said they would be income restricted, and they are.
And what if it's not filed? Do they lose the TIF money then?
Yeah, those are, well, they don't lose the TIF money, but they're not going to be eligible to get the TIF until they meet all those requirements. So you would spell those out in a reimbursement agreement and all the details of how TIF is paid out.
Okay,
So if the developer's not meeting certain requirements, then they're not eligible to receive the TIF yet.
and then how long would you keep that money before it would come back to the city, or would it just never come back to the city?
It does not go back to any of the taxing jurisdictions during the life of the brownfield plan. So if the developer is not meeting some of the requirements in their brownfield plan or the reimbursement agreement, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority continues to hold that money until they meet those. And those are the things that, again, that are spelled out in the reimbursement agreement, as if there's any violation of the reimbursement agreement, here's the steps to remedy it. If you don't remedy it, the Brownfield Authority could start that process of talking about, well, if you're not going to meet these requirements, we can terminate the brownfield plan. That's not done very often because the developer has made a commitment to construct the site and, do the development, and they follow through on that. I've only had two in all the time I've worked on it, and it's because in one case, the developers changed hands a few times. There was a death in the family and they just couldn't do the development, so they walked away from it. And another one sold the property and the new buyer didn't want the brownfield plan. But otherwise, I have not seen any that have been terminated.
Okay.
All good questions.
Thank you.
Comments or presentations or?
So so how we're, kind of where we're at now is we're looking at wanting to move this forward. And part of kind of the analysis that I've been doing is like a community benefit analysis, like what benefit will we get for this development to occur? What benefit do we not have? And that's not often monetary. It's just like, is this a benefit to the city that says, yes, this development will happen and it's new development, and what other things can happen, can springboard off of that. We have more people living downtown. We have a building that is functionally obsolete and not looking good as it is. We agree. And then two other buildings that aren't in good condition either. and we have those replaced. And then it's kind of like we're hoping that it's a concentric zone theory, that it will build out and we will have further and better development as we go forward. And so that's kind of how we're looking at this. And that change in the law that Trudy made mention in 2023 has, I think, across the state has started to see kind of hard sites be redeveloped. When you build something in Canton, we always use that as an example. It's a farm field you're turning over and you're good to go. But when you're doing redevelopment in an urban or an inner ring suburb, it's not the case. You know, we have buildings in the way, we have easements, we have utilities that are already there that are in the way of development that have to be moved. And so those are things that add to the cost of development in an older community. And so that's why we were, I was kind of excited in 2023 when the state law changed, because it opened a door that has always been closed to inner ring suburbs for housing development to occur in their downtowns. So I think that's why we're kind of here. And I think with the developers' goal to reutilize the space, build new for the future, and to, of course, increase housing units in our downtown and our city. So I think that's why we're here, correct? So.
We have no other, I'd like to make a motion just to support for the Folkers Commons project. That is a 4-story mixed-use building with approximately 20,000 square feet commercial space and approximately 60 residential units, and the use of an interlocal agreement between the Garden City DDA and the Wayne County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to establish the TIF tax capture funding.
Support for that?
I support.
Did we just move this to an action item?
I think we
I
can
mean-
make a motion off of this, can't we?
Correct, we can make a motion if you see fit.
Okay, so we've got the motion by Mayor Jacobs and support from from Trustee Barry. All in favor?
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Matt, yeah. Prior to this development, with Orange being there and Orange owning it, what were we collecting from there?
I don't have the numbers, I'm sorry. Okay.
A little bit under $100,000 in property tax.
Yeah, and now we would get,
Well, that's correct.
so yeah, let's walk this up, because this is taped, and
We don't have the numbers exactly, so as we.
let's ballpark, just so that we have something concrete to talk about here.
Okay. We took a snapshot of the value of what he's paying, and so the $100,000 in taxes that are paid, though, do not all come to the city. Just so you know, just a smaller portion of that $100,000 comes to the city. And
The city would separate the city and the DDA, so, because what the city gets, I mean, we're talking about TIF money, which is directly correlates to the DDA, so let's stick within the DDA. What are we losing?
I don't know an exact number, but let's say $10,000 a year is maybe what we're looking at. So, but that's off the, because a portion we're getting now, I think a benefit, sorry to Albert, the benefit at least that the DDA is getting is that the property sold recently and it became uncapped. So we got that jump, the uncapping. And so now the snapshot's a little bit forward. But the cost, we will not be capturing a certain dollar amount. I don't have the number to say.
Well, okay.
But it's not, I don't know if it's 10,000. I don't want to.
Okay, so let's,
But it could be about that.
okay, so
Because it's 3 tax parcels in the entire DDA that we won't be capturing these on.
so we were capturing about $100,000 a year. And when the development goes through, we would capture about $90,000 a year.
Well, we will be still capturing.
Roughly, not exact, just trying to just some rough numbers here to get an idea of what's going on.
We will still be collecting the 100,000.
Okay,
But when the development occurs, it would be reassessed at, say, 200,000. And of that 200,000, we won't get our portion.
we won't get the 100,000.
Correct.
We won't get anything.
But the state won't, it is used to pay down the loan on behalf of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. They will distribute the money to the developers to pay down their loan. Is Trudy still on? I don't think so.
So it's not just that, that with a new building and it being reassessed, that we would not collect that money. We won't collect any money. So we would lose $100,000 a year.
No, we will still collect that.
That's what I just asked you, and you
Okay.
said, no, we won't be collecting
I'm
that
sorry, I
100,000.
didn't-
It's going to go back to the developer.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
That's why
the
I'm,
question. Yeah,
that's right. If I'm confused,
yeah.
then anybody else watching can get confused too.
Trudy's still on.
So,
Trudy?
okay. Well, we'll clarify, though, that we still will collect today's tax rate. So like our budget that we approved this year of $600,000, we still will do that next year also.
You were talking for the city, correct?
Correct.
When you
Yes.
say city,
Yeah.
though, is that,
The city portion then comes to the DDA, yes.
Matt, just to make sure on that, I will follow up, okay?
Yes.
Follow up, I'll get it. I think what the question is does the DDA get any money on it if they do this interlocal agreement? Is that correct?
correct. So I understand that we're losing the increase from the new value. So we're losing the increase in taxes, but are we forfeiting all of the revenue that would come in?
My answer to that is I know that taxing jurisdictions continue to get what they have been receiving. They don't get any increment. In the case of this DDA with this interlocal agreement, I want to check on that further and just get you an accurate answer. I don't want to say something tonight that might not be right. So I'll get you an accurate answer on that. And this is for 5 parcels instead of 3. There are 5 properties there
Okay.
as far as tax parcel numbers.
Okay.
So in that
So I'll
case,
follow
then
up
I
and
don't
get
see
you an
how we can
answer.
vote when we don't have the information.
Well, we're not voting on any numbers. We're voting on, do we support this project and moving it forward so that they can look at the financing numbers? That's what the motion is
Still got to
for.
come before the city, and it'll still come before the DDA as far as when the.
With numbers and the agreement, yes.
True. This is just basically a motion to, as Matt said, just to move everything forward so they can go after with Wayne County, because I'm not sure Wayne County moves very quickly.
Well, if I had an answer to that question, then I could support it too, but I don't have an answer to that question. So,
Okay.
you know, it's one thing to say it benefits developer, and that's great. It benefits somebody, right? The developer, and the new building's going to come, wonderful. But how is it going to benefit the residents? Because you know, Matt, outside of our taxes being extremely high, we just got hit with a big water bill too. And now if we're going to lose revenue here in the DDA, then we can't continue to do some of the things that we do here. We need to know that.
But it is not a loss of today's revenue. It is not.
So I think I'm understanding your question. You're still capturing what you're currently capturing.
But do we forfeit that back to you?
I don't believe you forfeit
we
that.
don't.
That stays,
That's what she said she was going to look into.
No, she was just going to look into numbers. But the answer to the question of will we forfeit what we're currently collecting through what is the answer to that?
Was that a question for me, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and that is what I was responding, is I want to just verify that.
So what we're currently collecting in tax, going forward, we would not collect?
That's what I need to clarify. I don't want to try to answer that tonight and give you misinformation. I know with all the taxing jurisdictions, you continue to get what you're receiving, but the DDA is saying to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, you collect the TIF on this property in order to do this brownfield plan. So the question, I think it is that DDA continues to receive that amount that they're getting now, but again, I would like to just double check that.
Okay.
So because this got uncapped, revenues go up.
But we won't receive them because it would go back to the developer.
The revenues that got uncapped, you won't receive.
Correct, but
Currently, the ones that we are receiving.
that's what we don't know, and that's what she said, that she needed to look into that. She couldn't answer that.
So if it gets uncapped, the revenues that you guys are concerned about are the revenues that, when it got uncapped, that's what's going towards the redevelopment?
No, that she explained. She said that they could be collecting for 15 to 20 years.
Correct.
My question was about the revenue.
So if it's 100,000, we're still collecting the 100,000.
That's what she can't answer. That's what she needs to look into. She can't give a definitive answer to that.
Well, I guess the question would be, do all the revenues that the DDA collects go towards this? Always, whether it's capped or uncapped?
What?
So basically, let's say he was paying 100,000 right now, and he gets uncapped, and he's got to pay X amount of dollars more. The revenues that we're collecting before it got uncapped, does that go towards it? And that's what you guys are trying to answer.
That's what, and right, we can't get an answer to
And a
that.
replacement for it, and then in placement, we're getting this nice, beautiful building in the downtown DDA.
Well, I mean,
Is what we're voting for, what we want to see happen, because if we don't vote
well, there's
for
more to it than that, right? Like, you can't just say, I love that beautiful home, I want to buy it. Well, how much money do you have? Well, I had 100,000, but I'm not sure if I have it anymore. So let me check with the bank. In this case, let me check with Trudy, and Trudy said,
But I think-
I'll get
If
back
we,
to you.
if we lose,
I think what happens is we've got to start somewhere. So initially, they're going to have to start with this, and then the city, which would be council, would make that decision to see if that's something that's feasible for this area. We're not the last say, we're just allowing them to get into contract so they can begin the process.
We're not the last say, we're the first say.
Trudy,
Once we say, then it goes.
Trudy, can you hear
Let
me?
just confirm. Yeah, go ahead.
So according to this, this plan, that the slides that we provided them, I think this answers the question. It says, you know, if our current taxes are $1,000, and then our development taxes after development are $4,000, then they're not gonna capture the $3,000 difference, but they still capture whatever the DDA gets out of that $1,000. So in this case, if our property taxes are $100,000, a portion of it obviously goes to Wayne County, goes to different aspects of it, and then there's a portion that comes to the city or the DDA. They still capturing from that 1,000, but they're not capturing the difference after the difference of the taxes. This is from the brownfield, you know, increment financing over here in the slide that probably came right off their website. But again, I want to reiterate that this is just a motion to try to move forward. I mean, nothing, you're not approving a site plan, you're not approving anything except for our ability to move forward with this. It's been a prolonged process, and you mentioned, one of the things that you mentioned was it benefits the builder. It benefits the builder to rehab these buildings and rent them out and start making money right away. This is something that we took into serious consideration to benefit the community. This benefits the community far more than it benefits the builder. As a builder, I can make greater than 10% on my money by rehabbing the buildings, cleaning them up on the inside, cleaning them up on the outside, and reusing it. But the plan for the city, and I came to the meeting, was to create a downtown environment. You can't create a downtown environment without giving a little bit as well, especially in an older city. I mean, you have to rejuvenate it. This happened in downtown West Dearborn as well, where people had to invest money because 90% of Michigan Avenue was not rented for the longest time. It wasn't until about 10 years ago that everything started renting out. This is a proposal that we're investing, you know, over $20 million into the site over here. And it's not just to benefit us. Everything that we've ever done is to benefit us and the community. So I just want to make that clear. This is not a
All
motion
right,
to approve
Albert.
a site.
Okay. So just to maybe, the example in these slides, though, Trudy, is an example of, that we're relying on of what will occur, that example that Albert discussed?
Yes, and I wanted to just point out one other thing so everyone understands. We've been working on a brownfield plan. The developers went through the rezoning process. There's a lot of steps to all of this, and they're working on the brownfield plan next. But in order to continue with this brownfield plan, there has to be an interlocal agreement between the DDA and the BRA. If the DDA says, no, we're not going to do that, then there's no brownfield plan. We can't continue. So that is a question that the developers need answered, as whether or not there will be an agreement put in place if there's support for this project. Otherwise, the brownfield plan is off the table.
Okay.
And, I just wanted to say downtown Dearborn, the example that Mr. Abbas made, he is right. So I am from that area, and nothing was being rented out. It was vacant for, I don't know, God knows how many years, 10, 15 years plus, until they started building apartments and they started bringing traffic to that area, and Ford invested money, and everybody did. If you go to that place and you walk around at night, everything is flourishing. The whole area is flourishing, and everybody is happy. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I don't
Would I love
disagree.
that to happen this way, or down this way? Of course. I know, because personally, I'm an investor into the city, and, it took me some time
If-
to, get the Marshall Yard up and going. So I understand the investment and the time that it takes to get things going. So if he's gonna come in and he's gonna invest X amount of dollars to make this place beautiful and bring something amazing to the area, why would we wanna put a hurdle in his way?
Well, I'm not trying to put a hurdle in his way. I'm just trying to get an answer to if we're losing our initial
We're not losing,
money that we would.
based on what they show us,
capture.
we're not losing our initial, what we're collecting right now.
Well, that's what you say, that's what he says, that's what this says, but when we asked the professional said, I can't say that, I have to look into it. And that was my question. But I have a question for you, Mike. When you purchased that building and started renovating it, were there any perks like this for you? Or, because obviously they existed, right? So,
I tried, and I didn't fall under those guidelines, because I'm not redemolished, I was remodeling my building. So,
okay. Just, I was curious.
The law changed to permit housing as a component of this in 2023.
Well, he didn't have housing, but but otherwise
But it would not have qualified, because the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority were usually industrial properties, things like that, and it didn't allow for housing to occur. So it was like how those kinds of developments occurred. Once the law changed in 2023, permitted housing to occur that would happen, usually not in industrial areas, in downtowns or obsolete buildings.
I was reoccupying. Now, would I have wished? Of course. It would have been amazing. But
I think for the investment versus the money we may give up on, once it's uncapped, I think it's a fair trade-off for a blighted corner in our downtown area. I think the money that we would give up for that kind of development, the investment they're willing to make, we've already discussed different options, and they've been very giving toward it, what the city would like, and obviously DDA's had some input. So basically, this is just moving it forward, letting them go seek that TIF funding to help with their expenses.
And then it'll come to a final site plan and approval for everything. This is just to be able to move forward, because there's a lot of holding costs, a lot of time that, we have to go through and take things step by step to be able to do a project like this. If you do a simple Google search on, the laws of the Brownfield TIF, it'll describe exactly what I
I
had just
did.
told you in this.
Yeah, I read all about it before I came over
So-
the weekend.
So that should be your answer to, the question that you just proposed.
Well, that's why I have these questions, and I just wanted clarification, since, in fact, she was the professional on all of this. And I assumed that she would know, so. I was surprised when she said she would have to get back to us,
Understandable,
right?
understandable.
If I can interject, it's not the be-all, but, we've had a decent amount of property ownership changes in the last couple of years, which all those properties also, their taxes were uncapped, so we're collecting more than we were, which also helps our budget as a bigger picture. So I don't think we're going to be in bad shape with this situation in the end result. I think it's going to be great.
But if we don't agree to the numbers later, say, we don't have to go forward. I mean,
That's
we don't
correct.
have to
So
go forward.
when would this come back before us then for approval? If this is not,
I think all we're motioning right now is for the interlocal agreement. We're not talking
Right,
any
we're just-
numbers.
we're just
It's
giving them approval to go
It's
through-
just to approve the
I'm
agreement to go
assuming
through.
Wayne County and,
it is part of the agreement, is it not?
Without the, I don't think they've got any
Maybe
of the
read-
numbers
yeah.
in here.
What,
Well, no, but not exact numbers, but the theoretical.
the motion was just to support the project to go forward, I believe
I
is what it was.
Okay, I support the project going forward, of course. Do I support with the TIF? I guess if I had an answer from her, then,
I understand.
so I'm not a disapproval, I'm going to be an abstain because I don't have all the information, is how I feel. I'm not a yay or nay.
abstain, we,
Right.
I understand what you're
There's a
basically you're a
motion.
no vote, because we need 4 votes to move this forward, so.
Well, there's a quorum of, it's a quorum of 4, so it would be a 3-1 vote. I mean, then, yeah,
But we're not voting on,
yes. Yes.
Say that again? I didn't hear.
Come back to us.
Yeah. Oh, well then go ahead.
Well, there's a motion on the floor.
There is a motion, it was supported by trustee Barry.
We had this discussion, so.
So now we can ask, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so our motion to approve the interlocal agreement to use the Downtown Development Authority tax increment revenues for the Folker Commons has been approved.
Well, it's a motion of support to move the project forward. It's not the interlocal agreement.
Okay,
Okay? So,
all right.
is
so
that
we-
correct? Yes.
So.
Okay, it's
do we
not
need
that.
Do we need to do this all over again and take that out of there?
No, I clarified
Okay.
what the mayor read. I wrote down that motion.
Okay.
So, and I read,
Wrote it without that.
I gotta make sure I can read all my writing though. One moment. So. And all that it stated was just that it's, and the drafting and use of the agreement, but not the agreement itself.
Okay, so the
Okay.
drafting and use of.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so we're all set with that?
I believe so.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Abbas.
thank
Chairman
you.
Taylor?
guys, appreciate it.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Can I
hear you.
jump
Go
in
ahead.
real quick?
Yeah, go
Okay,
The
ahead.
motion did pass. Okay.
All right, I just wanted to give you your answer because as we were on here, I was trying to contact a couple other people to get the answer. So the answer is, between a DDA and a BRA, the DDA is the only taxing jurisdiction that has the right to set some limit on that. So they can put in the interlocal agreement that they will continue to capture what they have been capturing on that. But only a DDA can do that. Other taxing jurisdictions cannot.
Okay.
Does that answer your question
So
now?
I think that's
You
helpful
can
to know. Yes,
Specify
that's,
that in the
Thank
interlocal
you.
agreement. And I apologize again for not having that question, but it wasn't one that I had come up before.
Okay.
That's okay, but I appreciate you looking into that and giving us an answer.
Thank you.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
I really do.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trudy. Okay, so then we can move on, so thank you very
Thank you guys
much.
very much, appreciate it.
So we're item 7A.
Thank you.
Well, we haven't done community events. Is there anything under community events?
We'll talk about those in other
Okay,
business.
we'll jump down. Okay.
Sorry.
So we'll jump down to 7A, the consent agenda.
I approve the consent agenda, 7A, 1 through 3.
Okay, and supported by?
I second.
So
By
we'll
trustee
support-
Walconis?
Trustee Walconis. Okay, so we approved the regular meeting minutes from May 20th. Do we need to vote on each one of these?
No, it's all
Okay.
together.
Okay.
Yeah, the consent.
And then we have the acceptance of the revenue and expenditure report as listed, and acceptance of the finance report as listed. All
Yes.
right, and then we jump down to the action items with
No,
public,
Oh,
We
gotta
need to
vote.
have a motion's been made and supported. so
of
we'll
all
have a
those
vote.
things. Okay, so can we jump right down to other business?
No, we would need to take
We
a
have to
vote.
vote, we have to vote on the consent agenda.
Okay, so we are jumping to then, well, we voted the mayor and then supported by trustee Walconis for the consent agenda.
Yes, and then all those in favor would
Okay,
signify
all
by
those
stating
in
an aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And do we have any additional discussion for the consent agenda items? Okay, now we'll move on.
Yes.
Action items with public comment. The first one is the agreement with Ailes Asphalt Paving.
Yes. Aye. So this was, if you can recall back, when we were doing our budget, we were putting together projects that we're going to do for the year. And the one item that everyone had been requesting, we've been looking at, is the parking lot seal coating and striping of what I call the northeast parking lot behind Jody's Bar and Tony's Garden State Cafe. And we put together a bid, which I included in there, a bid package, and then we put the bid package out on our BidNet, which is a governmental website where people actually register to companies that are interested in doing this kind of work, seal coating and striping, would then be sent a copy of our bid specs, and then we had a bid opening, and we received 5 bids for the work to be done there. So this will be the parking lot itself to fill any potholes, look at the cracks, fill those with the joint compound, and then seal coat and stripe the entire lot, going over to the credit union, kind of from the alley behind the bike store all the way over to the credit union. And so we did receive 5 bids, and I'm recommending that we move forward with Al's Asphalt from Taylor, Michigan for the low bid of $22,300. They've done work here in the city before, and most recently they did a joint crack seal project on city streets throughout the city also. So we know that their quality of work is good and that they will be able to do the work and get that done. At the beginning of the year, we had done municipal and improving projects in the budget of $100,000 for total for this, plus the alley repaving, and which is coming up next, and you'll see that. And but that is what I would like to recommend. Unfortunately, it's going to have to occur after the Lucky Squirrels and the chili cook-off, which kind of bums me out a little bit. I would love to have it done, but it just is not going to be able to be done. And plus, we do put extra holes in the parking lot with the tents and everything. So actually, we'll start with a fresh new slate next year. So we're looking at really kind of the first week of October to get the work done. So.
All right, so we're looking to make a motion to approve this contract with Ailes Asphalt.
Beginning October 1st. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Al's Asphalt with Taylor.
I second.
So motion by trustee Walconis and seconded by trustee Barry.
I will say this, we had approved this many years ago, and it's kind of kept falling back and back, but it was, at one time, it was already approved by DDA and the city to do it, and
It just was never done?
So, well,
it's,
we were going to do that with the rest of the fire station and the back lot here at City Hall, and then it also included the DDA. But then we didn't have all the funding put in place until really this year again to get it to come back to the surface, so. And during the budget process, we earmarked this to get done, so.
Any other discussion? So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes. Moving next to the agreement with OCG Companies LLC.
Yes, so this is the alleyway between Elite Eye Care and the bike store. And I just wanted to, again, that alley is in terrible condition, and we, of course, are trying to make it safe, number one, improve the drainage, and again, over in that parking lot, trying to make it look better. Earlier, I think a couple meetings ago, we had talked about, all those stores are filling up, and the parking lot's a mess, and the alleyway's getting more traffic, and all of that. So we went through the same process that I did before, which is the most open process that we can utilize using BidNet, which the city uses, and we use the city process to put together a bid specs, and which are bid specifications, and then also we had a bid opening. We received a number of bids. You can see we received a total of 10 bids to do that. We did receive a low bid of $37,642 with Golden Gate Construction. But then the next bidder was $160 more, and it's called OCG Companies, and they have been working in the city and providing really good service to us in the sidewalk gap project. And I thought that the difference of $160 to go with an unknown company, and when I was checking all of their references for Golden Gate, they seem to be a new company, and so I wasn't sure. And OCG has been performing quite well for us. I'm working with their project team on concrete every single day, actually, in the sidewalk program. And I would like to make a recommendation to go with the second low bidder with the $160 difference with OCG Companies of Bloomfield Hills for $37,802. They'll be the complete removal and replacement of that entire alleyway there. So.
Hey, man, I just have one question. I have no problem with that. That's fine. But the sidewalks that have been replaced, so I've seen some of the new sidewalks, and I asked, why are these sidewalks, especially like on Hennepin?
Yeah, they're
Right?
going in and out.
So, right, and so part of the street, or the majority of the street is level, and then here comes the new sidewalk, and it went from level to, it dips this way, and then it dips this way, and I wonder what's going on here, and why is that, and do you know, can you answer that?
Well, we're trying to meet the grade of the lots that are there. So if you look, you can see, for the most part, we can't go more than a 4% grade anyways because of ADA, so we can't have a slant of too much. And then, again, we're trying to meet the lot where it's at so that we don't disturb the grade in the lots for the most part. Also, the drainage, we've been doing a lot of drainage improvements along there. You'll see, Sheridan has been, we have a whole new drainage system practically going on over there, but they are meeting all the requirements of the bid and the installation. We're also trying to save trees, all of that. So you'll see, we have some meandering sidewalks. I think if I was a kid, riding on those would be kind of fun, but for the most part.
The answer is at my age.
Can the city get sued?
I'm not riding my bike on
Pardon?
that
Can the city
sidewalk,
get sued?
unless I'm following Mark, because then,
We
I got
could if we went outside of the
something
specs
to
for
land on.
design.
Bam,
Yeah.
he
But
can
we're
go down
within
first,
spec.
and I'll go out to the street. Yeah, I'm not going that way.
I just tried to find the grass to land on.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Okay, I approve going with OCG then, since
So
you,
that was moved by,
Oh, so you're motioning for that?
Trustee Volkonis,
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mayor Jacobs. All right, and then our last action item is the
Hold on.
special.
Well, we
oh,
need to
Sorry, sorry,
All
still
those
getting
in-
used to this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so that motion will pass. And then the special license application.
Yes, this is each year at the Chili Cook-Off Community Event, we need to acquire from the Michigan Liquor License Control LLC Board a special license to serve alcohol on that day. And it will require that a resolution, the DDA, is passed so that we can apply for that, so that we can be in compliance with state law to serve this at the Chili Cook-Off.
And so this is just something that you do every year for chili cook-off?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I move to obtain the special license application for liquor for the chili cook-off.
We have a motion by trustee Walkonis,
I'll support.
supported by Mayor Jacobs. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? Okay, so that motion also passes. Moving to other business, the Lucky Squirrel.
John and I are working quite hard on the next one, September 20th, but he can take it away for this and the next item too.
It'll be full again at 175 vendors. We're almost completely full right now, and in fact, we have a waiting list going. So everything's in place, and it's happening September 20th. After this event, I will have a full P&L for the board so they can see the numbers on it as well.
So we're looking forward to that event. The next council meeting, I'm going to do a little commercial. We're still doing the bags, the shopping bag project and promotion. And Zeffie. Zeffie is the squirrel. And so we're trying to encourage shoppers to use of course, during the event, and of course, to shop anywhere else in the downtown. So.
Nice.
And then anything else on Lucky Squirrel? So we'll jump to chili cook-off, which I believe is,
Yeah, so
September 27th.
September 27th, the Saturday immediately after the Lucky Squirrel will be the chili cook-off. We've been doing a lot of work on lining up all of our food vendors and drink vendors and merchant vendors. We're still taking applications on that. We're still looking for chili cook-off teams. So if you have friends or know people that would be interested in cooking chili, we would love for them to apply. They can do that online through gardencitymi.org. As far as all the, I'll start with like the kids' activities. We got Parks and Rec doing some things. We have face painting. We'll have inflatables there. We have a petting zoo. We have a rock climbing wall. We also have the car show and a motorcycle show that are being operated by two different entities for us, so we don't have to do that directly. And then ordering all the equipment, some staging, tents, barricades, porta potties, signage, all the electronics, all those sorts of things are in the works. We understand that the Secretary of State is going to be on scene.
Deputy Secretary of State will be there.
Yeah, and the Secretary of State mobile office
The
also.
mobile office will be there, they've confirmed that, and I think his name is Deputy Gogo Adebe, I believe.
Okay, I want to make a comment on that, because I actually utilized that last year. And when I went to renew my tabs this year, you have to put in, of course, you do it online, the date of issue. It does not like the date of issue. And I had done it there. So maybe we can ask a question before they come and say, this, this situation arose.
It didn't
Why
like the Saturday, maybe?
So, yeah, so, when you renew your driver's license, obviously, all your information stays the same. If your name and address has stayed the same, everything on there is the same, right? All your numbers are the same, your eye color, et cetera, whatever. The only thing that's changed is your expiration and the date of issue. So your license is usually good for 4 years, but you still have to renew your tabs every year for your car, for your vehicles. And when you go in to do that, it asks for the date of issuance of your driver's license, and it wouldn't take mine.
Really?
No.
Well, the mayor's in communication with the Secretary of State, so
I
he
can-
can ask that.
Yeah, because that was a wonderful thing, and I'm going to One daughter just went and had hers done this morning, but my other one needs it, and I'm going to tell her, she better get it done.
I'll reach out to the Secretary of State and ask what we can do for that.
Just to finish up, the liquor license will be applied for tomorrow morning after your approval tonight. We got approval for a special permit through Garden City, and that involves the fire department and the police department. That's all done. The temporary food license permit or inspection has been applied for. And then we have Nankin Transit doing shuttle from Garden City High School. So we put in an application to use the high school parking lot as well. And the city clerk got us our liability insurance waiver. And there you have it. We're still looking for sponsorships as well. And we did secure a title sponsor this year from Buccelli Group. They're going to title sponsor this event for $7,000. So that was a good jump in our sponsorship income as well.
Who did that?
Buccelli Group, Ken Buccelli.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
the added, a couple of things that were added this year is that the touch a truck is still going to occur. We were contacted by a tree trimming company to bring, tree booms and stuff like that for the kids to climb on the boom trucks that,
Oh.
for the touch a truck event, plus our police and fire and DPW will be there. And then the other item that I'm kind of excited about is that we're partnering with the Rotary, the Lions, and the Kiwanis, and we're having a pancake breakfast in the morning. So from 9 to noon, they're running a pancake breakfast there to, all the proceeds will go to the Straight Farmhouse gazebo project that they selected for the road. All those groups came together for that, and I'm really looking forward to that. Also, the Garden City Youth Athletic Association has donated, I believe it's $50 per team, to help with groceries. They were doing an in-kind donation to all their competitors, kind of in the contest, to help them purchase their some of their grocery items for that. And then also each of the team members will get a pancake breakfast ticket to come over, kind of while they're getting set up, they come over and enjoy breakfast in the morning and then go back to the tent, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Pancakes and chili.
Well, pancakes will line your stomach,
Right.
and then you can have chili.
Yeah, the Community Coalition's also involved in that pancake breakfast
Yes.
as one of the groups that's doing it. And then we're moving, we actually worked it out with City Hall and Police and Fire to move their open houses down onto Central Street. So everything is going to be happening in that northeast quadrant, and DPS, and free mini golf. And another addition this year is a cornhole tournament. So that's in the works as well.
Then we do have the food trucks too. We're getting a real good mix of food trucks. We're getting a Mediterranean food truck. We're getting Brome Modern Eatery that the Boss Brothers own, a Frosty Swirl kind of thing. So there'll be lots of options for that. Also, the pancake breakfast is being sponsored by All Phases Contracting. Actually, is sponsoring. They're our head sponsor for that. I believe it was, I think, a $1,500 sponsorship that they're giving for that, so that they'll be able to, we'll be able to collect money for the pancakes themselves, but the groups will then figure out how much is really made for the event for the Straight Farmhouse. So we really appreciate these sponsorships. We're still looking for more, because really, in turn, all of the money really goes back to the city itself. The DDA does host it, but you know that if you volunteer at that, if your organization accumulates hours, we do pay those hourly rates, and we do pay some nonprofit organizations also as part of the event, so.
DDA doesn't make any money off of it.
Correct.
Regardless of what we bring in, we don't make any money, we give it back out.
Correct, to organizations that register.
Charity.
So let's go there, because last year we didn't have enough, and then we had city workers that we were paying. So do we have, how are we on volunteers for this?
Well, that's not 100% correct. The city workers that were present were there on behalf of the city. So the DDA pays a fee to have all of our financial affairs handled by the city. And so the city workers were there handling.
Specific?
All of the financial affairs, so all of our accounts payable, our payroll.
No, I meant, we agree to a set amount that we pay our volunteers, that they in turn give to a variety of charities. But did we or did we not pay for city employees at an hourly rate different than, and did they not collect it and it was not donated to a charity? Like, that's where I'm going with
Okay.
this.
No, the employees they received comp time at their rate, but the city paid that because we have an agreement with the city and the DDA to handle all of our financial affairs, which include cash handling. And so they did all of the cash handling. The cashiers, actually, I think 2 of the cashiers that work at the city were there handling all of the cash for us. So they were taking in the money, they were handling the pucks, they were doing all of that accounting as the cash handling for the city to do.
So,
But some of the, I will say that some of those employees did not receive their own personal comp time. They worked on behalf of a volunteer organization, like
okay, that's nice.
Correct. So they chose not to do that, and so they volunteered their hours. We have a needy family fund here at City Hall where we fund Christmas purchases and for families that we get from Garden City schools. And so some of them donated to that. And then I think one of them did the Humane Society or something like that. They utilized that way.
So the city workers that were not paid from the DDA, or we did pay the city in addition to whatever we already pay for their services? Did we pay over and above that for that day?
No, we did not.
That's all part of our standard payment to them?
To the city every month.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were there, and we felt that.
Because.
That's very good.
Let me tell you something, there was a lot of rumors as to how that was being paid, and.
I never heard the rumors.
So well, it's
Dispel
good,
that,
it's
but-
good to clear it up so that everybody knows.
I'm not arguing with that. Yeah.
Okay.
It is good to clear it up.
And they did, what it does is it removes any notion of that, I'm not in some trailer counting money all day, because I don't want that responsibility. And we have people that are
It's a
actually.
trailer, but I would take the responsibility.
Okay, so, but, or wherever, and count and do all the accounting. So we get the start of the bank, in the morning, for each cash drawer, and then we do a full accounting of that. And last year, we balanced the penny. So, and I was appreciative of those cash handlers. They're bonded to handle that. They know how to do it way better than I can do, I think, and so they did a good job.
Good deal.
So.
Is that it?
All right, I just had 2 things with regards to chili cook-off. Are you still looking for bands, or is that been filled?
The bands, I think we have all the bands are good.
Okay.
So we have the bands.
And just a comment I wanted to make, a lot of the things we've talked about today, I kind of already knew about because of the information that's been put out on the Facebook page. So I think that's awesome that people are aware of what's up and coming, and so whoever's in charge of putting all that out on Facebook, big props. So
Yes.
it's
Communications doing a great job.
Yeah. So I learned a lot of that stuff already just by following the DDA page on Facebook, so that's awesome. All right, anybody else have anything for chili cook-off?
I guess, did the question get answered, how we were with volunteers? Like, are we short?
We're short, we need
A
them.
lot, or just,
I'm going to say a lot because we'll take whoever we can get.
But we're always short.
We're always short.
well, we're always short, that's why I was
I
asking.
know.
Are we short a lot, though? Is it like,
I
are we in the
don't know
same position
exactly
as
how
last
many.
year where it's?
We're short. We need volunteers. So
And what
And
about the
cook-off
school?
teams.
What
Bring
about,
a team.
my husband does ribs, not chili.
but we are,
The school, do they have to get any type of service hours where they
Mm-hmm.
can donate hours to the city?
yes, so I'm in contact with the junior ROTC, and they come to the Lucky Squirrel and do traffic control for us, and so they're going to be there for the chili cook-off too. So, and that's a big help, just kind of some perimeter people doing traffic control. So that's a big help. There's a lot of volunteers. They usually send 10 to 15 kids, and on Lucky Squirrel Day, it's kind of a lot, but I appreciate them, and they're also giving service to the community, so.
And is that something we can then use as, through the DDA Facebook page to suggest we're still looking for volunteers and that sort of thing? Okay.
And I'll tell you this, well, my kids are all grown, but when they were in grade school and even high school, they had to get community service hours. And in the high school, well, I think actually it started in junior high, so many had to be spiritual or helping the poor, so many within your community and things like that, so.
Yeah, I don't know, because we've reached out before, and that's more of a school thing, but we've asked for kids to go shovel senior sidewalks in the winter, for community service. And usually it's the people that are, the kids that need Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, stuff like that, where they're going for a certain level that are really looking for the community service. And then the rest of it's kind of hit and miss with kids. But we put it out to the schools and we always offer it, whether they take us up on it, that's.
Well, and isn't there a program at Radcliffe Center right now also that is something to do with like middle school kids and a volunteer opportunity? I thought I saw something come
I
through.
think so, but I'm not, I couldn't give it to you offhand,
Okay.
off the top of my head.
I spoke with the director of the FRC today about having people there, and they're going to have a chili team too. So
Oh,
the
wonderful.
FRC kids will, so.
All right, so no public left in the room, so we're going to jump from public comments to the director report. Do you have anything additional?
The only one thing I did want to talk about was Everfresh groceries next to McDonald's and trees. Unfortunately, they took upon themselves to trim 5 of the trees, the city trees out there. And they really went to town on those. Of course, it was done before we even noticed, but we're taking this very seriously. So we did file a police report of trespass and damage to public property on that. We are looking at trying to get a quote to see about kind of replacement of some trees if they don't make it. 5 of the trees, of that, 2 really, there's not much left. And so I did put out a notice, to leave the trees alone, don't trim them, please, number 1. But it's a lot of damage that was done, and we're taking it very seriously. So we are trying to get a quote to see about replacements and working with that property owner to remedy this situation. So,
About some of these places that have opened and closed, like isn't the Cat Cafe finished too?
no, it's open. So there's one in the grocery store across the street from Everfresh, Garden Fresh grocery.
Oh, yeah, that
It's really,
was
I was sad to see them, they put a big investment in, and I thought they were going to make a go of it, and it just didn't work out. That property has been released, though, already, actually, to a ice cream kind of place, kind of deal. And it was renovated really quite nicely, and I think that helped with the the renovation helped them lease it again. They do own that property, though. The owners of the store. Initially, when they had come and we had discussions, they had an online presence also, so I thought that would assist. So I don't know all what happened, but it was sad to see them go. So, but the cat, there's people there all the time, actually, and I'm allergic to cats, so I can't go in. But people
you're
are there.
missing.
Sorry. I do like them, I just can't touch them. And then along there, we're working on the old Andrews drugs and trying to get them to complete their project. The permits are still valid, but they're coming to an end, and we're going to try and get them to refocus. And then also Golden Feather, they are working. They are working on inside. If you see inside, they are doing work there. We're just waiting for some outside improvements to occur. And then also CVS, a former CVS, has been leased, and interior renovation, kind of demolitions occurring now, and it's going to be a therapy center, like a doctor's office there in the old CVS. So of note, nothing on Hollywood Sound, but you know that Family Heating and Cooling is going forward. They're going really quite fast down at Family Heating and Cooling, and so we're kind of
What
I
was
think
the
we're doing okay.
excuse the Everfresh gave about trimming the trees?
There's 3 stories. So the real is that they wanted their sign more visible, I believe, but they said that they wanted to clean it up, and that they said that pedestrians were hitting their heads on branches, which is not the case, not true. And Gary Carter, our maintenance person, he stays on top of all of those. But in the mix of, if you can remember, our goals for this year were to get trees trimmed, and so we're trying to put together a plan to trim them properly.
You
and go
tell them
forward.
that? Is that?
Yeah. So I was quite upset. And again, it's hard to put, the eggs back in the shell. So, but we're taking it very seriously, and hopefully word gets out, please don't do that. And if there's a problem, talk to me, because the golf place, Top Golf, they had a problem with the tree. So we worked with them, and they moved their sign over. So it solved the problem. So there's always a solution to a problem. So.
2 more questions, because I haven't been to Hyder's in I don't know how long. Did that get fixed behind, because that parking lot was a mess, we said we'd fix it, did it get fixed?
Yes, it still doesn't look great, but the huge holes are covered up, so,
So when you go through, you don't have rocks spitting at your car anymore?
maybe a few.
Maybe still, okay. Well, you let us know, because you're going there next
I will
week.
let you know.
And then Kmart's?
We don't have any action yet. I'm thinking possibly, he could be laying in wait and see what happens at Orrin and see how the financing all works out there, and maybe he'll want to do a similar project or something. It's kind of how I think. I don't know. He was building a project out in Canton that just opened, and so maybe he'll start to focus on Garden City for us.
No, I know he had some health issues for a little while, too.
Did too, okay. So that mixed in, but then one other thing, just a side note too, is Dunkin' Donuts pulled all their permits, so Dunkin' Donuts will be over there by Harrison and Ford Road, so by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
KFC, yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, so they've had 3.
20 years in the works, too.
It's been a long time coming. They're working in conjunction with the other store that they own in Westland, and they're moving that store from Wildwood Ford over to Ruth Olson Photography Studio.
Might be because the Starbucks on the street is shut down.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So it's good. And again,
Dunkin'
that's
Donuts
further
better,
investment
actually,
and more
so
investment in our tax dollars in the DDA. And then one other real quick, I just wanted to talk to you. We did approve the business incentives for the downtown. We have those 3 business incentives, and I don't have a brochure done. I apologize, I don't have that done yet, but I'm working on it. But I've gone and talked to a few businesses about that, specifically the bike store, and I'm working with him maybe to get a new sign. The facade got all redone, there was an accident, and then he took advantage of that to, of course, fix the corner. A vehicle ran into the bike store, but then they did clean up that front. And so the last kind of component is the sign. And we do have a $1,000 sign credit that they can get to improve the sign. So hopefully he'll take that. I gave him all the information. So I'm out talking to people. I don't have a brochure to talk about it, but I have the program list, and I gave that to him. So hopefully they'll come forward. That's all I have.
That's enough.
That's a lot.
All right.
All right, trustee board comments. We'll start with Mayor Mark.
I have nothing. Oh, the only thing I do want to say, and obviously you guys are here, but when they put out the email for if you're going to make it or not make it, please respond. And I'm going to make sure I let the other ones know also. It's not fair to people that do show up, and then there's not a quorum because nobody said they weren't going to be here. They didn't say they were going to be here, but, it'd be appreciative by, I'm sure, Mr. Miller there, that just respond that you're going to be here or you're not going to be here, so we can make it, we know.
Yes, thank you.
But when you do respond, I usually put reply. Do I got to put reply all?
No, just reply, and then I usually just say a good see you then or something like that. I just acknowledge that.
You know what
And I
threw me-
keep a list.
Matt, I was thrown because you have always sent everything out a week ahead of time. And I think that I found it in like Friday's email or something that had the packet for Tuesday's meeting, and
Okay, I usually
Didn't have
send them
them.
on Friday. I do send it every Friday.
we used to get them like a week ahead of time, because I could print it, and I had plenty of time to go through everything. But, so anyway, so my apologies, because I was used to getting them a week ahead of time, giving me plenty of time to go through this nice, thick
Okay.
pack.
A lot of it's a contract. I mean, that, the
Well,
one
that's
big,
fine,
thick
but
one
I
is,
still like to, I
Yeah.
look at everything.
usually we never, in years past, we've never gotten the full contract.
How many contracts are in here today? 3?
2,
Yeah, two.
and then a draft interlocal, that's all.
I mean, there, it was a little, we killed a few more trees, but
But
in
I-
years past, we didn't get the whole contract because it's basically a signature for chairperson or myself or Mr. Miller that has to sign it, and
But I wanted the board to see that, we
Right.
we
No, I-
put everything together and that we're, doing the purchasing policy correctly.
right, no, and I get that, and I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Matt.
I'm just saying, we usually don't, that's why
Thank you, Matt.
it's so thick, but
All right, is that it for you?
that's all I have.
All right, trustee Barry.
No, we did have our last event, you weren't able to make it, Mayor. I think if I invited Kim and her husband came, I think I invited you too, John? And if I would have had, I don't think I had your personal cell, I should have emailed you, Matt.
Okay.
I'm sorry
Well,
about
you've
that.
got it now.
My apology, yeah, so my apologies, and Lori, sorry, I just,
That's okay, life's busy.
yeah, I totally forgot, but I would have invited everybody. I think we should create a group chat. I don't know if everybody's got WhatsApp. That's how I'm used to commuting, it's just like you shoot something in it and then everybody just communicates and talks. I don't know if that's something you guys want to do. But we had our event.
The only problem with that is you got,
Open Meetings Act.
Open
we can't
Meetings
do
Act
so,
that-
unfortunately.
if we started talking about like Orange or the Brownfield, we can't discuss anything that we could possibly vote on.
Gotcha, so the best way would be an email. Like I'm just saying for like.
Well, if you
personal
email it.
It
yeah.
wouldn't matter, I think it just, the whole point is, as long as it's not business-related, right? Nothing concerning the DDA.
Yeah, like I'm just saying
Right.
like for.
Yeah, if you're-
But then, and
Open
then
Meetings Act.
socially, exactly, that's what I was looking
Because
for,
like
if it's socially.
If I gotta go down and remember every single person, and I don't wanna make a mistake, I feel bad for not inviting, Lori or anybody else, which wasn't intentional, but.
You can always BCC once you create that group, just put BCC, so everybody gets an individual, everyone's getting the same exact email.
Okay.
It's blind to everybody separately, and that way, that's acceptable.
All right, maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe that's what
You know,
I'll do.
Or just send it to
Hit
me and I'll
comment,
send
I
it
can't
out.
remember. Oh, I know what it is now.
Because I had Dr. Khalila Ali, and she's the wife of Muhammad Ali. And she had come by and she gave a speech, and, it was amazing. She's an amazing woman. She was around when the years of Muhammad Ali had been fighting against the draft. And she has I believe five of his kids. And she was the one, when everything that mattered about Muhammad Ali, she was his wife. And then when he started to deteriorate, he ended up getting remarried. One of them was to, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Will Smith movie, Veronica. And he ended up having a child with the mistress, and then he ended up marrying Lonnie later on down the years. And just the stories that she tells and being a part of history, it was amazing. It was an amazing event. I wish all you guys would have been there. But yeah, so amazing woman, she came by, so if you guys ever need an appearance by her, I can probably make a phone call.
All right, thank you.
Won't be on the day of a wedding.
Okay, so
All right, trustee Walconis.
thank you. So we're short members of the board, and I think, Mark, you have to appoint them, correct? So where are we at with that? Do you have applications?
I have
or
one
what do
app
we-
that I'm waiting on an opinion on. Other than that, we have no more, we haven't had any other apps.
But I think that in our bylaws, don't we have to have a minimum of 9? So are we actually legally functioning with
I think
7?
we have to have 9. I'm not sure.
Between 9 and 11, correct. So, but like at the beginning of the meeting, and I've asked the attorney regarding it, a quorum is based on the number of members that are appointed. So even if we're short, just like, for example, if the council only had 6 members, somebody passed away or somebody left, we still would have, we would have to meet the quorum requirements for the number of people that are currently appointed to the board. But we are short. We are short two. One is a difficult one to do, is we're required to have somebody that lives in the district, and we have very few housing units in the district. And so we're, if anybody knows anybody in the Meadows, that's a big help, that would help. The Meadows is,
street, I-
and you live across the street.
from
I
the-
know, I'm sorry, but it's not within the district. So it's important for that, but the towers is not in our district. And that would be a great, resource for housing. But when they established the boundaries, it was drawn around the towers. The reason being is that the towers operate under a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. So they have kind of a TIF a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's with the state directly, not with the city. So that, and then we have one, and the opinion that we're trying to get is that in our charter, it says that you can't serve on more than one board. And so we're looking to see is the DDA a separate enough board to qualify where somebody that serves on another board can serve on this board too. So that's where we're at. I mean, we're trying to fill it. We're even trying to get an opinion of the charter to see can they do it or not. And so we're waiting to see that happen.
So what about getting a special consideration because of the size of the city and the lack of housing in the district?
We looked
did,
into that, and they
yeah,
won't,
we did try that too.
will not waive that.
They won't wait.
How long ago did you try? Is it worth, I mean, has it been a while?
Since I've been here,
Within the 3 years I've been mayor.
Yeah, it was like I think about a year and a half ago, when Clyde, what's her name? Penny?
Penny?
Penny Clyde.
When Penny left, we had a hard time, trying to identify, and so we, at that time, asked, well, do we have to? And they said we do, or else we have to null and void the DDA if we don't.
Well, at one point,
So.
either you or the clerk or Brian was, and I got every name, every resident's name,
A registered voter, yeah.
a registered voter in the DDA area.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tried, yeah.
nobody that we could reach out to that,
Wasn't interested, so we're,
it was hard. And there's only, I
So-
believe there's only like 100 and some odd people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of
So
people.
one, it has to be a resident of the DDA. What about that, what are the requirements for the other open spots?
it's an
I
at-large,
think we
I
have one
believe.
at-large and that one.
Yeah, and that's it.
Member at large, well, that should be easy.
It should be, but that's, again, we have one app and they serve on another board and we're trying to get an opinion.
Business Alliance.
We're trying to get a opinion on if the DDA would be considered separate from a city board to be able to do both.
It's just,
Otherwise, they would have to step down from their current position, which then leaves that position open, and we need that. That's a position that only has a few people on it, and we need bodies.
So when these apartments fill up,
Huh?
would they be eligible to serve on the board?
yes. So we get 60 to 100 more residents, right? So,
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, and anything from Assistant Director? Okay, besides your chili cook-off report. All right, we do not have a closed session as far as I'm aware coming up. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 16th.
yes,
All right, so,
Chili cook-off.
yes.
all right, so if there is no other business, I believe we can adjourn the meeting at 7:46.
Thank you.
Ready?
Did we say go blue? They're home openers this weekend.